from the Car HMI USA 2019. My name is Maria and I'm standing here with Kang from DENSO. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Can you briefly introduce yourself and the current work field that you're working in?
Sure. So I'm an ergonomics specialist working on, for example, driving simulations, test track studies, and also researches. So all kind of everything a little bit in terms of HMI and human factors. The interesting part of our group is that we're doing a lot of different aspects of HMIs. So I'm sometimes working a little bit here and there, so not specifically on a certain point, but the target is that we want to solve the toughest question at that time. For example, it could be distraction driving, it could be teen driving, most of the topics when it's the toughest questions we want to solve.
And what are the main factors influencing the current HMI development, like what we are doing now?
Right. So I think right now we're focused on not just like teen driving. So as you know, that teen driving risk and fatality is very, very high in the state. And we're always trying to solve those issues by enforcing laws and trying to moralize the whole situations. But a lot of times they don't get it. So we're thinking about, can we, for example, changing the design of HMI and helping them to process the information a little bit more better and let them consequently drive a little bit more responsible like adult. So those are like those information we're trying to collect. And nowadays, we also apply most of the information and design of the HMI onto autonomous vehicles, especially because it's such a hot topic. And not just on teenage drivers, but also on general publics, for example, senior drivers, and how people look at autonomous and how those questions can solve our futures and for the near coming autonomous and level 3 or level 4 future.
And so it's really like getting, making the life of a driver easier in the groups of, like you said, teenage drivers, senior drivers, distracted drivers. We had tons of drivers. So this is what you're really working on.
Correct, yes.
Wonderful. And you are presenting a research study tomorrow entitled HUDs and peripheral displays for maintaining situational awareness. Wow. So what does that mean? What does it entitle? And share some insights with us.
So it was starting from 2013. We're really looking at teenage fatalities. And that was the point that we're thinking, probably the current HMIs does not work on teenage drivers. So we're thinking to redesign the whole interior cockpit and how they can actually help the teenage drivers. So we go through human-centric design, and we go to a lot of experts and also doing a lot of focus group, understand their need and their pain point. And we come out a whole lot of different concepts. And the final two candidates we have is this HUD and also peripheral lighting systems. Basically, how it works is that we put a lot of LED lights around the cockpit, on the A-pillar, and on the side of panels. So whenever you see there's adjacent vehicle that might be causing some hazard, we're basically lighting the light directionally. For example, if there's a car really close to you, it might become an issue. Then we're lighting the light panels on your left-hand side, telling you that there might be a hazard, giving you some cues about that. And we design similar things is basically in the HUD. So in the HUD, you have to use your eyes to look at it. So that we call it the focal vision warnings. And those are the side, you don't really need to look at those. So those we call it the peripheral lighting systems. And the research result, we not just go through simulator result and also software to actually put them into an actual vehicle and put them on a test track. And surprisingly, we found those teenagers actually quite get it. We don't actually need to do too much explanations, and they know what to do and what to react, which is very, very exciting to us, because we start to understand that a lot of times people really have a hard time to digest those ADAS results. And something like blind spot warning is a very good example. People get it a lot, but a lot of times those warnings on the side, there's a beep here, there's a lighting flashing here. What does that mean? People got very confused all the time. So these are very exciting information for us that just by using a directional light, we're actually helping people to understand their driving surroundings and the hazard around it.
So it's making the life of teenage drivers, especially because it's overwhelming. You, of course, got your permit, but you have all these rules you need to follow. You don't have enough practice, of course, that you get, really scared, more or less.
They're anxious about driving, and they're so distracted. So what if we just give them one single directional warnings and telling them what's happening right now? That will make them driving so easier and also so safer.
And then they also get used to all the driving, and then okay, this situation I had before, but now I know how to get through it. More
Exactly,
or less.
correct.
And this, of course, can help all the other drivers as well.
Correct.
Wonderful,
Yes.
cool idea. And like you said, the trend goes from a human-centered to an automated vehicle. But what does that also entail for HMIs? So how does it work, or how does it develop?
Yeah, so a lot of issues actually happening right now. For example, people starting to have false assumptions on how system can work. For example, people are abusing the Tesla systems apparently, and people have misunderstanding how systems work and when it works, when it does not. And people also having over-trusting issues, thinking, okay, this is an autonomous vehicle, that means I can fall asleep right now, right? Which is not quite there yet. So these are the key questions and key features we're working on nowadays, is that we want to make sure they have the same mental model as how we design the system. And sometimes this is not very intuitive, because when you go to a human-centric design, people are actually making sense of what device they use every day. For example, they're using their phones all the time, so they're expecting the cars actually work the same way.
Yeah, sure.
However, HMI does not work equally. So
Yeah, sure,
you can just play your phone, walking on the
Yeah.
road, you probably just hit a tree. That's probably fine. It's probably funny, but if you drive a vehicle, you can cause a very serious accident. So the mission of the HMI designers is that we're not just designing a HMI that makes sense and help you to drive through your life happy, but most importantly, has to be safe.
Yeah.
It has to make sense of the rule on the road, because it's hazard everywhere.
Yeah.
You have to be careful about your situational awareness, and that was the toughest part I think nowadays we are facing right now.
So this was now and the challenges we are facing now, but let's take a look into the future. So what will be HMI and user experience in automotive vehicles, traditional ones, and the ones that have like level 4, level 3 right now, and then of course fully automated cars. So what can we expect in the future?
Yeah, I won't say like driving will be totally disappear in the future.
Okay.
I think there will be a mixed model in the near future. But I think what happens right now is that people are starting to expose to those kind of ideas and how systems actually work. And once it becomes a more general public knowledge, people will properly understand how things work and how things doesn't work. Just like when we just started using our cell phones, we probably don't understand how things work. So when people are using their banking apps, they have a lot of doubt. They are not trusting that. But nowadays, if you look at banking apps and also medical apps, those are very life critical events. People are very comfortable doing those. And I think that's going to be happen in the next 10 or 20 years when the next generation will understand more about how AI works, how autonomous work, and what's the responsibility when they're doing driving, and what they can hand to the car to drive safely, and what they have to still keep in mind on the road.
Yes.
And I think that will change how the urban design and also change how urban fabrics. Especially, I think public sectors will look at very, very differently, because I think deployment of autonomous driving car groups will be easier to build, basically a train or some bus systems, right? So I think they will be on the rise of they want to apply more autonomous into the system, which will totally change how the city works in the near future. Although again, a change of infrastructures will take take a long time. But I think exactly. But this is going to be a very, very good chance for people to educate themselves, understand how the future look like. And once we pass that hump, I think we'll be all good, and we're facing another fast growing of autonomous driving.
Wow, thank you for that last statement. Last question from my side is, one of the key USPs of the Car HMI and the whole automotive series done by we.CONECT is that we have all these interactive sessions. We have the challenge your peers, we have world cafes, we have icebreaker sessions, of course we have the normal case studies and keynotes. So how do you like the mixture of all that?
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward for the challenge your peers actually. So you just don't really get that lot of chance to sit with a lot of expert in industries and actually challenge their ideas. And this is a very, very good chance for you to ask questions, because in a lot of situations, you cannot really just say your questions because they will sound stupid in some sense. I think this is a very, very good chance for everybody to answer those questions and understand what we're looking, because when you're doing in the industry, sometimes you have a lot of blind spot in terms of what you're working. You're so tunnel vision and focused on your work, and you're probably missing some part here and there. And so I'm looking for like challenger peers, want to know some fresh minds, some new ideas, and see if I can know a bit more. I think by the end of the day, I'll actually learn a lot, which I'm really looking forward to.
That is so cool. That is what we're striving for. Thank you for this quick chat, Ting Ping, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Marianne.
you.